Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts. I did it on my own this time. No prompting, no tricking. I did it.
She did it because I'm driving, so she's holding, and she led the way in.
Yes.
So we wanted to talk about how so many myths and legends, not only do they have a basis in fact, but in many cases, they're pretty much dead on.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just we've been conditioned to believe that, the only thing in front of us is the 3D thing in front of us, or what we've been taught to believe this there.
It's so interesting how all the myths and legends, for the most part, in our modern times, got basically laughed at and thought, oh, you're silly, there's really nothing there. And then now we're coming full swing, but understanding it also from a scientific standpoint, a fact of different densities, different dimensions, interdimensional beings. Now it all kind of makes sense.
It is coming together. You just have to look at some science articles throughout the day to realize that, oh wow, there are these ghost particles. Oh wow, there are these other things that, we didn't realize was there previously. Well, maybe science didn't realize that they were there, but we understood that they were there. Our DNA, our ancestral DNA, knew that these things were there. We were just sort of misguided and misdirected.
Exactly. And so the myths and legends from around the globe, they really do have a basis in fact, and in many cases they are right on. There are what we would call ghosts, per se, discarnates, sometimes just residue of a being that's actually moved on, but there's an imprint of energy that stays behind in this density that can interact sometimes with human beings. Often, if it's just a piece of energy, so to speak, it won't really per se interact. It'll just kind of be in a loop, doing the same thing over and over. So when you get those like hauntings where you have a ghost appear at a certain time and people say that they see, like, say, a woman in white going down the street at midnight, or what have you, and it's just really an energetic imprint of the person that the soul has already gone on. Could be up in fourth density, might be reincarnated again, but it's an imprint. And then sometimes there are beings that are completely trapped, and we know two little girls that we've worked with that were trapped, and they've been getting to the point where they're going to be ready to do a life review, and then at some point they'll jump back in again.
Right. So, at every level, there's things that can be done to move you upward and onward, and that's what life is about. You start at the bottom of the rung, and you climb your way up to a certain point, and then you graduate. And that's how life is. It goes in that loop over and over and over. So you get to experience all these different things, and you have life happening for you, not to you.
And so, like last night, we were staying in a hotel, and we weren't asleep yet. We were just talking, and Cindy says there's something over there. Do you want to describe it?
Yeah, well, I have this thing where when I close my eyes, I can see the light photon of things. And it had these glow-in-the-dark eyes. It was probably a little bit bigger than a gray. And it was standing there, and it was staring at us. And it was waiting to take energy from us, either fighting or messing around in some other way or another. And it's like it knows people, it knows human beings, and it knows how to feed off of them. So that was kind of a creepy experience, but it was definitely knew what it was doing and how to get energy. So it obviously has done it before.
Yeah, and with the way it is with us, it's like I don't get nervous at all. I was like, okay, I'm tired, I'm gonna get rid of it. So I just pointed my fingers at it and start to send the intention to send energy out to banish it, and Cindy saw it just pack up and go.
Yeah, it just packs up and goes, because when you do that, when you do the banishing ritual, there's an entity that will come and get at the other entities, and it'll put them behind an energetic wall, so to speak. They have to stay behind this energetic wall for quite some time. So in a way, it's a lot like being in timeout. Some of these beings are aware of what can happen, so they choose to leave on their own before they get taken away.
Yeah, I did have one. I was going to do the ritual because it was starting to try to channel into Cindy, and then it begged me not to send it away. It actually begged me, and Cindy probably doesn't even remember because she was, in that in-between state. And it really did feel very, very, it made me feel bad, honestly, because they don't have a choice. They have to leave when we use that intent and call on, for instance, the power of the archangels. They have no choice.
Right. And, some of them know that and some of them don't, but it's all a learning process. And it's just a learning process on a different dimension. Just like this dimension, we learn tricks through life, little things to help us through life. Well, when you go into other realms, you learn tricks on those other realms too about what to do, what not to do. And a lot of these entities know that we can use our intent to get rid of them, and a lot of them don't want that.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be even just the archangels. I've also called on Durga. Durga is the totality of all the goddess energy, so very, very powerful.
There's a speed trap ahead.
Thank you. Very, very powerful energy, and again, it's about your intent and knowing that you can. So that's really where the power is. It's in knowing that you can.
Very important to understand that these things are real, because they can manipulate us. They can get between couples, they can start arguments, they can get you, they can blind certain areas of your brain, so maybe you lose your keys, or maybe you misplace something because an entity has made something invisible, and then all of a sudden you and your partner or you and your child are in a fight because you're blaming one another, and that's how these energies work. And then when you're blaming each other, it's sitting there feeding off of your very strong emotion.
Definitely. And so, there are energies that we could equate to vampires and werewolves and things like elves and sprites, fairies, all of the above. They really are real. And they're just on different densities, different planes of existence. But some things can, as we know, manifest here. As we were talking about some of the shapeshifters and how, we have in the Christian tradition, we're talking about the devil. Now, you guys and us, we might look at it and just say, well, we're talking about Draco reptilians and reptilian beings. But, again, these are really all labels. And it's a good question. I don't even know. I'm going to ask Cindy to ask the guides. Do the Draco call themselves the Draco? Is it because they're from Alpha Draconis?
No, they call themselves something along the lines of masters and kings, but I don't know the vibrational word for it.
Oh, in their own language.
Yeah, in their own language, right.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, there's just so much stuff out there that we're definitely not taught, that the elites don't want us to know, because if we did know, we would change the way we live, we would change our behavior, we would change the way we treat other people, and we wouldn't be, little batteries for them to run their corporations anymore, because we would understand the in-between of everything. We would understand what's between the cracks and crevices of life. We would understand what's hiding behind the corners, and we would know how to manipulate things so much better. Life would run so much smoother if only we were raised with more of a knowing.
Well, again, if you have 1/10 of 1% that's controlling because they know the mysteries inside and out, well, how could they control the 99.9%? That would be almost an impossibility. There's no way they could control all of us. Mm-hmm. So especially if we were unified and if you had the majority of people trying to create a heaven on earth, it would happen.
And I think, if there's one thing that you could make a change in your life that would help life be better for you, if you could start doing it now, is understand that if something happens and between you and your partner, and you see a blame game starting to appear, understand that that could be an entity just waiting to kind of suck your energy, and don't play into that, and see how that works for you. Maybe it'll make things a little bit better.
So we just wanted to share these thoughts with you guys. We hope everybody's having an awesome day. We thank you for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. Thank you for your patience while we are on the road, and I know people are going to have comments about where are you and what are you doing there. So it's all just a big part of the bigger mystery of everything that's going on right now.
Indeed it is. God bless and namaste.
God bless. Namaste.